Hey folks, till now we have performed the data pre-processing along with the data cleaning. So let's go ahead and try to perform some featureization using something known as string matching. Again, string matching is basically you can treat it as a metric. You can treat it as a metric. Again, there are tons of ways or there are tons of approaches just to find whether two strings, let's say S1 and S2, are similar or not. That's the core idea behind this entire session. Again, in our upcoming 3 to 4 videos, we will try to touch upon some of the extremely used string matching ways just to figure out up to what extent, let's say we have two strings, let's say S1 and S2. So we will try to encounter up to what extent they are similar. Again, in a nutshell, they will return some value, let's say between a range of 0 to 200. So more the value close to 100, there is a higher probability that S1 and S2 are similar. That's the core idea behind our string matching. So first and foremost, what I will do is, let's try to rename the notebook that we have. So I will say, this time this notebook name is feature_extraction using string matching. So I will say using string, it's all about underscore matching. And let me say it's all about, as it's a fourth notebook. So I will say 4 ... Cool. Let me press enter. Let's try to import all the necessary modules that I really need, which is all about pandas that is extremely popular when data exploration comes into mind. Similarly, if you are going to apply some of the numerical computations on top of your data, you can think of your NumPy module. Again, if there is a data visualization type thing that you can perform on top of your data, here comes our Seaborn, which is extremely used module when you have to, let's say you have to build some interactive visualization. Again, if you want to build a basic visualization or some basic plot, in such scenarios you can think of this matplotlib module. Let me create its alias, let's say SPLT. Let me execute it using Alt plus enter or Control plus enter. Now here we need to read the file on which we have to perform the string matching. Now you will figure out this is the file path where exactly my data is available. Now let me just call an inbuilt function which is all about our read_csv. You can just press tab. This is exactly that function. Here we have to mention what exactly is our file path first and foremost. Now let's try to mention what exactly is a file name that we have to read. So I will say it is all about pre_process_cora.csv. Let me append R, which stands for roasting. That helps Python just to read the file very efficiently. Let me store the data frame object, which will get written by my read_csv function. Let me store that object, let's say in data. Let me execute this line of code. The moment I will say data.head, just to return, let's say first 3 values or first 3 observations of your data frame. Let me execute this line of code. Now this is the high level overview of how exactly the first 3 observation of your data frame looks like. These are the couple of features that you have extracted in the tutorials of your basic featureization. That's what you have extracted. So the moment I say data.isNull, I will say isNull, cool. And on top of this, why not just call a sum function just to get a summation of missing values across the feature. You can encounter we have some missing values along 2 feature. Now let's try to fill all the missing values. So I will say data.fillNA, just fill it, cool. Now let's try to update your data frame. You can think of your in place parameter. I will say in place is all about true, cool. Let me execute this line of code. Now once I will do this, let me cross check whether we have any missing values or not. The moment I will again execute this line of code, you will end up getting 0 missing values in all the features that you have. Cool. Now if I will say data of, just press tab, question 1, imagine, let's figure out the data of 0th index. Let me execute. Similarly, if I will say data of, let's say question 2, let me execute this line of code. Now you will end up getting the 2 string that you have with respect to 0th index of question 1 In addition to that, you have also data of quotient too. And of course, this supports our string data type or a string data structure. Now let's say we have to determine how similar both strings are. So in such case, you can think of various matrix of string matching. Again, when string matching concepts come into picture, you can think of an extremely used module or extremely popular module, often known as fuzzy wuzzy, which is all about this one. You can think of using this fuzzy wuzzy. Again, inside this fuzzy wuzzy, we have tons of functions, we have tons of classes that you can think of just to find how similar two strings are. Again, in this session, we have to touch upon the very first approach, which is all about the fuzz ratio. Let's try to touch upon what exactly fuzz ratio stands for. So the core idea behind fuzz ratio is, imagine I have two strings. Let's say S1 is all about, let's say New York Mets, which is of course a baseball team. I will say it is all about New York Mets. This is the first string. The second string is all about, let's say New York meets. This is the second string that I have. And now let's say I have to find how similar they are. Again, so over here we have to perform bunch of operations like delete and shifting and some adding of the characters, just to determine how similar S1 and S2 are. It means less the operation we have to perform on top of S1 and S2, more the similarity score we will get. That's the core idea behind all these stuff. Or in a nutshell, if I will say, if I am able to convert, let's say if I am able to convert one string into another string, by making few edits, in such case I can say both are pretty much similar. That's the core idea behind this. So just to generate this string 2 from string 1, we have to just add one alphabet, which is all about A. It means there is a higher probability that S1 and S2 are similar, or there can be higher value of fuzz ratio. That's what our fuzz ratio says. Now let's try to code up all that stuff. Again, first and foremost, I have to install that module, which is all about our fuzzy wuzzy module. So we will say it is all about fuzzy and of course wuzzy. Again, for those of you who haven't installed it earlier, you have to use this command, which is all about pip install fuzzy wuzzy. Cool. Now what you have to do is, first and foremost, we have to import some function, some classes, just to import the necessary stuff. So what I will do is, I will say from this fuzzy wuzzy, let's import something else. Let's import our this fuzz. Now let's import some another stuff, which is all about, from this fuzzy wuzzy, let's import some another stuff, which is all about our process. Let me execute this line of code. Again, for those of you who are getting such kind of warning, if you want to get rid of it, you can think of using your filter warning. So I will say import warnings. Cool. Now from this warnings module, what I will do is, I will say, hey, can you import something known as filter warning, which is all about this one. Cool. Now inside this filter warnings, whenever a warning come across your cell, just ignore that. That's what it says. And the moment I will again execute this line of code. Cool. Sounds good. Now what I will do is, if I will say fuzz dot ratio, and it is ratio, and the moment I will pass both the string to this ratio function, I will say it is all about this, and of course it is all about quotient 2. The moment I will execute this line of code, you will end up getting value close to 100, which is all about 93. Because look at this, look at the both sentences that you have, which is all about what is a step-by-step guide to invest in share market in India, and the second is all about what is a step-by-step guide to invest in share market. Again, we can observe both are pretty much similar, hence we will end up getting pretty much high value of fuzz ratio. That's how exactly it works. So that's all about this session. Again, for those of you who have any doubt, feel free to ask with us in the Q&A of the course. That's all about it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Keep learning, keep growing, keep practicing.